April 7th, 2006, Hewitt, Texas. In the early hours of the morning, a 911 call comes in. A husband says he can't wake his wife. A Baptist minister, somebody the community trusted, tells dispatch that the mother of his 2 little girls is unresponsive in their bedroom. On the surface, everything about her death is the kind of tragedy people accept without argument. A young woman gone far too soon, a grieving family left behind. It was a suicide, an apparent overdose. Or was it? What began as a neatly packaged narrative slowly cracked under pressure. Over time, investigators revisited what had been assumed, and new scrutiny landed on what had been ignored. This is Kari Baker, the pastor and the pill bottle. Hey y'all, I'm Chris Calvert.
And I'm her husband, Rob Potter. Welcome to Hitched to Homicide.
For better or worse,
Till death do us part.
welcome back, everybody.
Yes, welcome. And for our friends over there in Guam,
Yes.
Hafa Ada, Hafa Adai. I don't know what I'm saying.
I don't know what you're saying either.
Let me try it again. And for our friends in Guam, Hafa Adai, Hafa Adai, Hafa Adai.
There you go.
I have dyslexia of the tongue this morning.
Sorry, Guam. Well, don't worry. Somebody's going to email you. Don't
Yeah.
worry. It'll
Oh, yeah.
happen.
Oh, yeah.
Wherever you're listening, be sure to subscribe to Hitched to Homicide. Then like, rate, and review the podcast so others who are just like you and cannot live their life without true crime can find us.
Yes.
And if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you want true crime with us every single day of the week,
Yes.
at all hours of the night, please go join our closed Facebook group, The In-Laws and Outlaws.
When you wake up at the witching hour at 3 a.m. and you can't go back to sleep, check us out.
That's right. Go to Facebook and type in H2H In-Laws and Outlaws. Answer a couple questions. You are in. Go join. We post lots of extra information in there. It's a great group of folks. That's our family. We love them a lot. You can find us on Instagram at Hitched to Homicide or on X at H2H_podcast. And we also have a Buy Me a Coffee link if you want to send Rob some caffeine coffee.
Yes, and I have a new coffee cup, so I'm very excited.
This has been the talk of the home, of our house.
It's called Ikago, and it's got a warming plate and a thermostat and the whole. Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, he tells me about his coffee mug every day. And you can imagine, for somebody who does not drink anything that is hot,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's great, babe. Good for you. I'm glad you really like your coffee mug.
It's lovely.
You can find the link to our Buy Me a Coffee in the show notes. And you can also send us a text. The link to that is at the top of the show notes where it says, send Chris and Rob a text.
Yes.
Well, I'm going from a woman who liked to poison her family. I mean, I'm like into these family cases in 2026 for some reason.
It's actually starting to worry me. Just kidding.
This one should worry me, not you.
All right.
Before we get started, let me thank some sources. The Texas District and County Attorneys Association, 48 Hours, 2020, CBS News, Crime and Investigation, Matt D. Baker versus the State of Texas, Oxygen Channel, Voices of a Killer, Reddit, Court TV, Web Sleuths, and the Waco Tribune Herald, just to name a few. You can find all of the sources that I used for this podcast in the show notes.
All right. Well, you ready?
I am.
Let's do it.
Carrie Lynn Doolin was born August 13th, 1974 in Salt Lake City to James and Linda Dodson Doolin. She has a brother, Adam, and a whole mess of cousins. She grows up in a family that's deeply rooted in their Baptist Christian faith, and the family moves to Texas, Waco, Texas. She graduated from Waco Christian High School in 1993, where she was an overachiever. And when she graduated, she attended Baylor University, where she majored in education. She was going to be a teacher.
Okay.
It's while she's at Baylor during her freshman year that she meets Matt Baker. He's 3 years older than she is, and he is going to be running the First Baptist Church of Waco's summer day camp.
Okay.
And she is a camp counselor. They met in May of 1994. By August of 1994, just 3 months later, Matt has proposed, and these two get married. She's 19. He is 23.
Of course, I proposed to you 4 months after we met, so I can't make any comments about that.
I was not 19.
It's true. It's true.
You were not 23.
No, I was past my expiration date.
Although I will say, y'all, we were putting up our Christmas tree, and our son put up this one ornament, and it's a picture of me and Rob when we first met. And he looked at us and he goes, I don't mean for this to sound bad, but you guys looked so young in this picture. It was like, it did sound bad.
Yeah, and we were.
And Santa just took away a present from you.
Exactly.
I'm telling Santa on you. But this quick engagement and this quick marriage, it sounds, like it's pretty fast, and she sounds really young, and her family wants her to wait. But these two, they were hot to get hitched. And my guess is that she wasn't going to go to bed with him until he put a ring on it, and I don't mean an engagement ring.
Yeah.
And Kari wanted to marry a godly man, and Matt was poised to be a Baptist minister, as he was ready to start school at Baylor's George W. Truett Theological Seminary. So, it's all kind of lining up for her. She meets this guy. She thinks he's fantastic. He's cute. She's adorable, by the way. Blue eyes, blonde hair. She's a little button. She's so cute. And she's just thinking, this is perfect. The Lord has worked this plan out for me. I've met this godly man. And can you get more godlier than marrying a Baptist minister?
Yeah.
He was a true man of God.
She's thinking.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Matt. Was he really a godly man? Well, Matt Baker grew up in Kerrville, Texas, about 200 miles from Waco. And until he's almost 10 years old, his parents, Oscar and Barbara Baker, ran a foster home. And when I say foster home, they had up to 50 foster children there over the years.
Wow.
And these foster kids are eventually going to come forward and say that Matt's mother, Barbara, mocked a mentally handicapped girl who was one of their foster kids.
Yeah.
Her name was Betsy, and according to the other foster children, Barbara called Betsy Porky Pig and Fatso. And that Matt's father, Oscar, touched Betsy in inappropriate places. Now, Oscar was also accused of tracing a finger down another girl's lower back and leg and French kissing a 12-year-old foster girl. Another child came forward to say that Oscar sexually abused her starting at age 7.
Wow.
Now, I will say Oscar and Barbara denied all of the abuse allegations, and they were actually investigated while they had their foster children in their home, and they were cleared. And this is important to talk about because while Matt's at Baylor in the early 1990s, he is accused of sexual assault. In 1992 at Baylor, fellow student athlete trainer Laura Wilson said that she and Matt, who was also a student athletic trainer, these two were cleaning a locker room when Matt grabbed her, lifted her off the floor, sat her on a bench with him, putting her in his lap, and then he ran his hands up her thigh and in between her legs. And Laura Wilson reports this to the school authorities, but nothing is done.
Really?
She actually drops out of school over this because she's so traumatized by the assault.
Yeah.
And I've seen interviews with her where she says that it took her years and lots of therapy to get past what happened and the fact that the school ignored her. But I just got to say this. Honestly, ladies, how many of us were sexually harassed in the 90s, reported it, and nothing happened? Because I'm raising my hand right now. It happened to me more than once. It's sad, but true. I'm very happy to say I don't think it happens as much now. But in the 90s, it was like, I don't know if we believe her or not. Yeah. What's the proof? Where's the proof? It's he said, she said.
Right.
So that's Matt's background. And a year after he's accused of inappropriately touching Laura Wilson, he's met Kari. And I want to say, although I didn't have specific dates and names of those who accused him, he was also written up at this Baptist church camp for inappropriate behavior. The same church camp Kari and Matt are going to work at together.
Oh, man.
Now, these two, Kari and Matt, get married in August of 1994, and while she's finishing school, these two have their first baby in 1995, before they even hit their first anniversary.
Wow.
Her name is Kinsey. That's their first daughter. Now, Kari's finishing school at Baylor, and Matt is in seminary school. And then 2 years after Kinsey, their second child, Cassidy Lynn, is born on November 20th, 1997. Now, meanwhile, Matt is working in youth. He's working in youth and associate ministry roles, including positions connected to the First Baptist Church of Waco and the Pecan Grove Baptist Church. Do you say pecan, pecan?
Pecan pie.
I say pecan. Pecan Grove
There you go.
Baptist Church. In 1998, just after her first birthday, little Cassidy Lynn is diagnosed with a brain tumor. And Kari and Matt are both devastated. Cassidy goes through brain surgery and chemo, and she's in the hospital for 90 days. And she seemed to be on the mend, and they sent her home. But not long after she's home, Cassidy passes away in her sleep on March 22nd, 1999. Now, when this happens, Matt checks on their daughter, and he screams for Kari. He tells her to call 911, and he starts doing CPR. But little Cassidy is gone. And after this, Kari is inconsolable, as you might imagine.
Right.
She falls into a deep depression and begins seeing a grief counselor named Joanne Bristol. Coincidentally, Joanne Bristol is very close friends with Kari's Aunt Kay. And Matt has publicly said that he and Kari processed their grief differently. Matt said they would talk about it, they would pray about it, and that it was a struggle. But Kari couldn't sleep. She had terrible insomnia and started taking over-the-counter sleeping medication, Unisom. She just couldn't calm her anxiety and grief and couldn't rest. And in addition to meeting with her grief counselor, Kari was journaling. She was reading her Bible, and she was making notes in the margins of her Bible. Now, Cassidy's death put a strain on their marriage, and there is a statistic out there that 80% of marriages don't survive the death of a child. But according to the National Library of Medicine, the number is actually 30% of marriages that don't survive.
Why such a big disparity?
I think it's just more of a, how does your marriage survive losing a child?
Got it.
Because you really, when you lose something, obviously you turn to your spouse to lean on them.
Sure.
But if the spouse is grieving just like you are, you lose a parent, you lean on your spouse.
Sure.
You lose a child, you got to lean on each other. And how does that shake out?
Right.
So the number is actually 30%, even though people like to say it's 80. But in the United States, only 57% of all first marriages survive.
Really?
Period.
Wow.
Yeah. So their marriage isn't great, but Kari wanted to make it work. But when Matt said that they grieved differently, he wasn't kidding. Matt is back to his old tricks, or perhaps he never stopped. He's working as the minister at Crossroads Baptist Church in Hewitt, which is right outside of Waco, Texas, and is kind of considered to be a suburb of Waco. It's a small place, about 12,000 people live there. But here's how he's grieving. He's making sexual advances toward women and acting inappropriately to women inside their church while he presented himself as a grieving pastor.
Hello, ladies.
Wow.
He's very manipulative.
Yeah.
He's also watching porn, a lot of porn. And I couldn't find any statistics on the correlation between grief and porn, but he's somehow explaining away his inappropriate behavior to the church. So if anybody comes forward, he just sort of explains it away. Like, that's, he said, she said, this poor woman, I feel so bad for her that she had to say something like that.
So basically, he likes to gaslight.
Please stop gaslighting me.
I'm not gaslighting you.
Oh my gosh, huge gaslighter.
Yep.
Every time Matt acted inappropriately and the woman would come forward, Kari would dismiss it, saying that Matt would never do that, and that when you marry a Baptist preacher, women are going to come forward and make false allegations, and you have to protect your husband. So she's kind of living in her own reality,
Sure.
maybe not wanting to see what Matt was doing. And isn't that true when you see something happen with your husband or your partner that you love very much, or your wife, and it's like, there's no way this is happening?
It's sort of like when I sneak a bowl of ice cream at 11:30 at night.
It's not true.
Not the same thing.
Again, he said, she said. Okay, I bet everybody believes me, though. And even though their marriage is struggling, these two have another daughter in 2000, about a year after Cassidy's death, and they name her Grace. Kari said that the baby was only by the grace of God, which I thought was very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And Kari's continuing to see her grief counselor. And in the past few years, Kari is kind of starting to think that Matt isn't himself. And in fact, by November of 2005, Matt is flirting with the newly divorced music minister's daughter. Her name is Vanessa Bowles. And Vanessa was friends with Kari, at least according to Matt. Vanessa and her husband had a little girl, and these two couples were two of the few young families at their very small church. And when Vanessa begins to date again after her divorce, Matt says to her, quote, "Don't date that guy. Only date your preacher," end quote.
Wow. Well, that was subtle.
Yeah.
Jeez.
He said negative things about Kari to Vanessa, telling her that Kari was always depressed. Sir, that's your wife and you lost a child.
Yeah.
I'm going to complain that my wife is always depressed.
Just because we lost a child.
Yeah. He tells Vanessa that he's the primary caretaker of the girls, and that Kari was lazy, and that their girls did not like their mother,
Ugh.
which I have a very hard time believing. There are tons of adorable pictures of the three of them together.
Wow.
So by the end of 2005, Matt's running his mouth and making passes at Vanessa. By February of 2006, Vanessa and Matt are having a full-blown sexual affair. Now, Matt tells Vanessa, "It's okay, we're having sex. I've cheated on Kari before, and Kari never had a clue."
Wow.
Well, even if she's the mistress, how's that supposed to make you feel, right?
Yeah.
He tells Vanessa that he has no STDs and that he couldn't get her pregnant because he had had a vasectomy. I mean, he's like, here are the good things about me, Vanessa. Let me give you the deets.
Here's my 30-second elevator interview.
Yeah, my pitch about myself, why you should be my sexual partner and my mistress.
Wow.
Don't get me wrong, he sounds like a real catch.
Yeah. And this full-blown sexual affair, it's happening in Kari's own home.
Jeez.
She's a third-grade teacher at Spring Valley Elementary and even an adjunct instructor for Tarleton State University. She's not home during the day, and the girls are in school. And after Vanessa and Matt's first sexual encounter, Matt tells Vanessa that Kari was hideous, and that if he and Vanessa ever, quote, fell so much in love, end quote, that he would, quote, find a way out of his marriage, end quote.
Ooh.
That's called foreshadowing. You know it.
And I did that with a coffee cup.
That was one-handed.
It was.
Matt starts putting on his thinking cap, which is pretty small,
Yeah.
But he's not very smart.
and looking for ways he could get rid of Kari. Because after only a month of sleeping with Vanessa, he was running ideas past her. Maybe he could tamper with Kari's brakes or set up a drive-by shooting.
Good Lord.
The Baptist minister's going to set up a drive-by shooting?
Man.
He even says that he could hang Kari and convince authorities that it was a suicide.
Wow.
Matt tells Vanessa that he'd tried to buy Rohypnol, roofies,
Yeah.
the date rape drug, so he could knock Kari out. But then Matt finally settled on a plan. He was going to slip something into Kari's drink, leave a suicide note behind, and when Vanessa questioned how he could fake a suicide note, he told her that he would type it. I'm just going to type her suicide note.
That doesn't look suspicious.
And then Vanessa says to him, "You can't type a suicide note." And he tells her that Kari typed everything and that the anniversary of Cassidy's death was just around the corner. And the family was well aware of how she had such a hard time each year at the anniversary of their child Cassidy's death. It was the perfect occasion to kill his wife. And Kari, she is having a hard time.
Right.
She's still seeing her grief counselor on a regular basis. She's still journaling. But meanwhile, Matt is putting his plan into action. He's on the internet trying to buy Ambien on the dark web. He makes it as far as putting the Ambien into the shopping cart online, but he doesn't order it. Then he Googles how much over-the-counter sleeping medication would be needed to overdose someone. He grinds up some Unisom and mixes it into a milkshake that he made for Kari. But she takes one sip.
This tastes awful.
And hands it back to him and says, "This doesn't taste right. This tastes like lead."
Ooh.
Everybody, taste your milkshakes.
Yeah.
These two are really not getting along at this time. He might be making her milkshakes and trying to act like he loves her to her face.
Right.
But they are writing these really horrible emails to each other, emails that aren't nice, especially on Matt's end. It's the end of March, and Cassidy died on March 22nd. Kari's depressed, but when Kari meets with her counselor, Joanne Bristol, she tells her that she thinks that Matt is trying to kill her.
Really?
She says it, and then she laughs it off, like, "I think Matt's trying to kill me." I mean, Matt would never do that kind of thing.
Yeah. The only time that's a joke is when you say,
Shut up! You're killing me, Smalls.
"You're killing me, Smalls."
Or I'll be like, "You're trying to kill me." But I only say that to the kids. I don't really say that to you.
I was just about ready to say that's usually directed toward the kids.
It's always directed toward the children who aren't children. They're grown children.
And they're still trying to kill us.
They still act like children at times. Exactly.
Only when they're home.
Yeah. Have you seen those videos of it where it's like, "I'm going to treat my child's home like they treated it when they lived with us," and they come in, they kick their shoes off, and they spit toothpaste all over the mirror, and they like get a glass of water and leave it out, and then they go get another glass and get another drink of water and then leave that one out on the counter as well.
I love those.
It really only happens when they're both here together. I will say our son Luke is pretty good now about picking up after himself, but
He's better.
he is better. But when he stays in one of the guest rooms, because we've kind of redone everything,
Yep.
it's clothes everywhere, shoes everywhere. It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah, it's
Come on.
pretty tragic.
And then I'll go upstairs and clean it up, like fold the clothes and put the shoe. And Rob's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I can't take it.
Get his butt up here and make him
I
do it.
can't take it." I will say, while we're on this tangent, I will, like, when the kids are home, if they bring their dirty laundry home, which they always do, and of course they are adults, but they'll bring their dirty laundry home, and if it's in the dryer, I'll fold it, and then I'll put it on the stairs, because the kids' rooms were always upstairs, and I'll put their clothes on the stairs, and even at 30 years old, they will walk through the house and walk up the stairs right past that stack of clothes.
I know. Oh, yeah.
So email me if you have this
Yeah.
going on with your adult children as well.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is like, because we, especially now when it's just freezing out, we'll take our garbage bag from the kitchen and we'll set it outside the door, which is on the patio there. And I usually will go out and take it out and put it in the trash bin. Well, usually when somebody leaves the house and walks right by it, they don't pick it up and just take it with them.
It's true. It's true. All the Amazon boxes are stacked out there. There's trash out there,
Oh,
you
my
know.
gosh, yeah.
And then it's just like, "Hey, bye." And they like leave.
Yeah.
And nobody. And by the way, they're walking past, we should say this. They're walking past the Herbie Kirby's
Yeah.
and the recycling bin as they're walking out of the gate of the fence to their cars parked in the driveway.
If any of you out there has the same issues, plural, go ahead and make comments.
We need to know we're not alone.
Yeah, exactly.
But back to Kari.
Who? Oh, that's right. We're in the story. Okay.
Yes, back to Kari. She's said to her grief counselor, I think Matt's trying to kill me. And then she giggles about it and says, oh, he would never do that. But here's the reason she's thinking this.
Okay.
It's because she opened Matt's briefcase looking for a pen, a writing pen, and she finds pills that have been crushed. And when she confronts him about it, he blames it. Get this. Again, the thinking cap is small.
Mm-hmm.
He blames it on children at the church.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
That they were the ones that crushed the medicine and hid it in his briefcase so they wouldn't have to take it. What? What?
That's inventive.
Really? I would be like, I think he's trying to kill me too.
Yeah.
In an email, Matt tells Kari that he would make her a better milkshake, that he would add more chocolate this time. I'll put more chocolate in, honey. That way you can't taste the sleeping medication.
Yeah.
On Friday morning, April 7th, 2006, Matt has told Vanessa that he is going to try once more to kill Kari. His plan was to have a, quote, date night with her that night, and that's when he was going to do it. And here is what Matt does. He takes apart some sexual stimulant capsules, and you might be thinking like Viagra, but it was some sort of erectile dysfunction over-the-counter pill that he got somewhere. Who could say?
Right.
But he fills the capsules with Ambien, and he gave them to Kari, telling her that it was to enhance their lovemaking that night. So she takes the pills, thinking there's something over the counter for her.
Right.
Instead, Matt takes what was in those pills. Then he gets her a fuzzy navel wine cooler, and they start feeling a little frisky. He gives her the pills filled with Ambien, and she's also been drinking a little, and Kari's not a drinker, so she's gonna feel it.
Mm-hmm.
He took Kari to the bedroom, and as she becomes groggy, he handcuffs her to the bed.
Okay.
The Baptist minister's got handcuffs.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
He handcuffs her to the bed and he engages in some foreplay. Nothing against people using handcuffs. I don't care. Whatever you want to do in your bedroom is your business as long as it is consensual, right?
Exactly.
But what's about to happen to Kari is not consensual.
Okay.
So he puts her in handcuffs. He engages in foreplay until Kari passes out. Now, everybody believes that when she passes out and she's handcuffed to the bed, that she is wearing a t-shirt and her underwear at this time. Matt is later going to say that she was nude, and this is important. So remember that.
All right.
And Matt's grand plan, again, tiny thinking cap, turned out not to be so grand because Kari is just asleep.
Yeah.
She's asleep.
Well,
and
that's what I'm ready
she's
to say.
snoring.
Yeah.
She's snoring.
Gosh.
Yeah. What were you about to say?
No, an ambient sleeping, I mean, a couple capsules is not going to kill her.
Especially somebody who struggles with insomnia
Yeah.
and has been taking something to help her sleep for 5 years.
Exactly.
So she's asleep, she's snoring, but she is not knocking on death's door. So Matt kissed Kari's forehead and told her to give Cassidy, their little girl, a hug or a kiss from him. And then he placed one of the decorative pillows from their bed. He puts it over her face. Mm-hmm. Kari struggles. She wakes up. She struggles because she can't breathe. She's moving her head back and forth, trying to get away from the pillow. But between the Ambien and the handcuffs and the wine cooler, Matt could easily smother her. Mm. He takes the pillow away, and he believes that Kari is dead. But she opened her eyes and took a huge gasp of air. That is like a horror film, right?
Yeah.
So he put the pillow back on her face and applied pressure around her nose and mouth. And when he was sure that Kari was dead, he took off the handcuffs, typed her suicide note on the home computer, rubbed Kari's hand on the note just in case somebody checked for fingerprints, and put the note next to the bed by a bottle of Unisom sleeping pills right on the nightstand. Then after what Matt thinks is a masterful staging of Kari's suicide, he leaves his 2 young girls at home alone with his dead wife. He locks the door to the bedroom on his way out of their master, and he drives to a gas station and to a video store. And when he comes back around midnight on April 8th, 2006, he calls 911. He tells the 911 operator that he just returned home and found his wife, Kari, unconscious in their bedroom. And the dispatcher tells him, "You need to start CPR." Now, remember when he found Cassidy not breathing, their little girl, he was shouting and upset, and he's yelling at Kari to call 911 while he's performing CPR. And in this phone call, he's very calm, even when he tells the dispatcher that Kari's lips are blue and that she is not breathing. He even asks if he should wait outside for the EMTs. Wait outside? They're telling you to perform CPR.
Jeez.
They even tell him that he needs to get her off the bed and into the floor, that he can't do CPR on the bed. And the dispatcher stays on the phone with him, and he's again very calm, and he's not winded, and he doesn't seem anxious at all. What he does ask to do, he does ask the dispatcher to call Kari's parents because he says his daughters are in the house. So he's taken his wife, put her in the floor, and he's supposed to be doing CPR, but he's very calm. He's not winded. He's not even winded from the adrenaline of finding his wife with blue lips, okay?
Jeez. Okay.
Now, the first officer on the scene is brand spanking new to the Hewitt police force. So it's a small town police force. His name is Michael Irving.
Okay.
I know, but
it's not the Cowboys?
No, it's Irving, Irving,
Right.
not Irvin. Not the same guy.
I got all pumped up for a
I
second.
know you did. But Michael's only been on the force for 6 months. Now, an EMT met Officer Irving in the front yard, and then Matt shows up and he leads them back to the bedroom where Kari is laying on the floor. She's wearing a t-shirt and underpants. And even though Officer Irving is green, he's very observant of this crime scene. There was a glass there that was still cold. And when he sees this, he asks Matt, what happened? Walk me through tonight. Walk me through what's happened tonight.
Right.
And Matt tells him that it was a regular Friday night. They had a drink before going to the local YMCA for their oldest daughter's swim practice. Matt tells them that Kari had a stomach ache and she was nauseous. She took a bath and still wasn't feeling well, but she still put the girls to bed at 10 p.m. It's a Friday night and they got to stay up late. And I read that and I thought, they're 8 and 5. Yeah. I didn't get to stay up late during the school year on weekends until 10. That messes up their whole routine when the kids are little, right?
Sure.
But he said the girls were watching television. And when the girls went to bed, Matt says that he laid down in the bedroom with Kari. He said she was half asleep and wanted another drink, another wine cooler. Well, wait. I thought she had a stomach ache, right?
Yeah.
Now, according to Matt, they both had a wine cooler. Kari goes to sleep and wakes up around 11 and asks Matt to go get a movie. She asked him to go get a movie and to gas up her car because she had a busy day the next day. So being the dutiful husband who makes milkshakes for his wife, he does exactly what she asks of him. And this takes him an hour. And he only travels 5 miles.
Huh.
The town is not that big.
Right.
When he comes back just before midnight, he discovers that Kari has locked their bedroom door. So he knocks and calls her name. He tells the police that he found a small screwdriver and popped the lock on the door, and he finds her in bed. He tells police that finding Kari was eerily similar to finding his baby dead. Except for the fact that the 911 calls are completely different, where you say you're screaming, and this one you're very calm.
Right.
Now, the EMTs are trying to revive Kari, and the police are looking around, and what they see by her wine cooler bottle is a suicide note and a bottle of Unisom that was pretty much empty. Kari's parents show up, and the EMT tells her mother, Linda Doolin, that Kari is gone. Now, Officer Irving is brand new to the force, right? But something just didn't sit right with him. There's a reference to Cassidy in this suicide note, and Matt tells him that it's a difficult time of the year for Kari because it's the anniversary of their daughter Cassidy's death. And at first blush, the police and the EMTs see it all, and even though their spidey senses were tingling, they did have a grieving mother and an empty bottle of Unisom, alcohol, and a suicide note.
Right.
In the smaller communities in Texas, there isn't a medical examiner. Justices of the peace decide what happens when there's an unexplained or a sudden death, and the police call Judge Billy Martin. Also, I know, I know.
Not even going to go there.
That one's spelled the same way.
Okay.
They tell him suicide note, alcohol, sleeping pills, grieving mom, and Billy Martin classifies the death as a suicide based on the preliminary investigation, and he did not order an autopsy. We're done here.
Wow.
Now, the community, Kari's family and her church family, they're all stunned. They're shocked by her suicide. They're hurting and grieving. But Matt takes 1 week off, and then he's back behind the pulpit preaching the Easter Sunday service. It's a big day. You don't want to allow somebody else to do that particular Sunday.
Yeah.
So he's up there preaching. And I know people grieve differently, but he's a murderer, so I don't feel bad shaming him for this. Matt tells the congregation that just like Jesus, Kari has risen up to heaven. And Kari's family is still in shock. Her mother and Linda's sisters, they can't wrap their heads around it. And her mom kept saying to her sister Kay, there's no way Kari would take her own life. She loved her girls too much. And that's when her Aunt Kay, that's when Kari's Aunt Kay, Linda's sister, her mom's sister,
Right.
tells her that her good friend Joanne Bristol had a session with Kari earlier that week. So Aunt Kay, it's a small town, Aunt Kay and Joanne Bristol are friends.
Right.
And she tells Kay that Kari shared that she had found crushed pills in Matt's briefcase.
Uh-oh.
Now, grief counselor Joanne Bristol goes to the Hewitt police to tell them what Kari had told her in their last session, not long after Kari's funeral. But Kari's parents, Linda Doolin's sisters, they're talking about their grieving sister behind her back because they knew all about Matt's indiscretions and sexual advances on women going all the way back to church camp, where one of them was a counselor with him. And they all knew that Kari had always defended Matt, but her mother said Kari was telling the truth as she knew it, because there's a presumption that a man of God has the type of character and moral compass that would keep him from being that guy.
Think again.
The smarmy dude who makes sexual comments and unwanted advances and thinks it's okay, or that he'll just get away with it, right?
Right.
But just 2 weeks after Kari's funeral, Matt takes Vanessa and the girls to a jewelry store where Matt and Vanessa looked at, what do you think?
Yeah.
Engagement rings.
Of course. Wow.
When Linda, Kari's mother, and her 3 sisters come to her, she was like, let's just grieve Kari, let all this other nonsense go. But the family couldn't let it go.
Yeah.
And then Linda discovered something hinky. She knows that Matt and Kari's marriage wasn't perfect, but the more she learned about Matt and the more her sisters talked about Kari's last visit with her grief counselor and the pills and the statement that Matt was trying to kill her, Kari's mom starts to get suspicious. And Linda, just like her sisters, suddenly can't wrap her head around the idea of what had happened. Now, her sisters say to Linda, did it ever occur to you that Kari was murdered? And it's about this time that Linda sees that Matt is keeping her granddaughters away from her. He didn't ask her to babysit. He didn't invite her to school events. It was all very different now. And at this point, after Matt's behavior and her sisters talking to her, she remembers that Matt and Kari were on their family cell phone plan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Linda decides to take a look at the phone bill, and what she noticed right away was that Matt was continuing to call Kari's phone weeks after her death. And this is when she realized Matt had given Kari's phone to someone.
Oh, man.
Linda calls her sisters, And they joke that they're going to be Charlie's angels. She calls in her angels. She calls her sisters in to have a meeting. They need to talk.
I'm sure they did.
Linda now believes that her sisters were right. And there was a lot of chit-chat around what the Baptist minister was doing, dating right after the death of his wife. There's a lot of pearl clutching going on. And it's then that she realizes that Matt has given Kari's phone to Vanessa Bowles.
Man.
Linda marches into the Hewitt Police Department and shows them the cell phone bills. They don't even care to look. To them, this is a closed case. But to Linda and her sisters, this case is far from over. It's just getting started.
Yep.
Linda researched how much Unisom it would take to OD, and she discovers it was way more than what they believed Kari had even taken, even with the wine cooler. And she confronts her son-in-law about the crushed pills. She confronts Matt about the crushed pills in his briefcase, and he gives her the same "a kid spit it out in my briefcase" story. So Linda calls Judge Billy Martin to find out why he had ruled Kari's death a suicide. And he tells her, well, we had a signed suicide note. And Linda goes, that note was not signed by Kari's hand. It was typed, something the justice of the peace didn't know.
Jeez.
And Billy Martin tells her, oh, well, you need to talk to the police about this. And she's like,
You think I've already done that?
don't you think I've already done this?
Wow.
They don't care. But at the urging of Kari's extended family, the police bring Matt in for questioning. So they just kind of badger this police department to the point where they're like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
We'll bring Matt in for questioning.
Right.
And they tell him they just want to sit and talk to him to, quote, clear up some things, end quote. And you can kind of tell from this interview that the officer is like, look, your dead wife's family is driving us crazy, so help us out and put this to bed. Maybe not, but that's what it seemed like to me.
Sure.
That is just my opinion, but that's really kind of what it seemed like to me.
Right.
Matt tells the police that he knew Kari was depressed. He tells them he left around 11 or so and was gone 40 minutes, and that he just couldn't figure out when Kari would have taken the pills. He tells them that he believes it wasn't the pills that killed her, but that she threw up while she was unconscious and choked. So like Mama Cass.
Yeah.
I'm like really showing my age here. Or did she choke on a chicken bone?
No, I think that's folklore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like Mama Cass.
Yeah.
Again, showing my age.
Yeah.
They ask him just to clear things up if he would take a polygraph. And he says, I'll take a polygraph. And he does. And he passes.
Really?
Yeah.
He's that good.
He is that diabolical.
Wow.
Yeah. He has that much lack of empathy and emotion that he can pass a polygraph test after he's killed his wife.
That's cold.
It is. He's the devil incarnate.
Mm-hmm.
Linda pulls together her own team after the police decide after the polygraph that Kari's death is a suicide. She calls on Bill Johnston, a former federal prosecutor in Waco. He's the guy who prosecuted the 12 surviving Branch Davidians from the fire in Waco, Texas after the 51-day standoff.
Oh, wow.
And Bill pulled together his own crew. Linda had her angels, her sisters, and Bill had his own crew of friends who, according to him, became, quote, as invested in this case as if they were fighting for their own child, end quote.
Wow.
Now, at the urging of this former federal prosecutor, pressure from the community, and Kari's family, the Hewitt police bring in Vanessa Bowles in August of 2007 for an interview. And Vanessa tells the police that she knows Matt, but that she wasn't having an affair and that she was only using Kari's phone right after her death because hers wasn't working. And she tells police that she and Matt did get together after Kari's death, but that they were no longer together. And at this point, she and Matt had broken up. And when they asked her if she believed that Matt could have had something to do with Kari's murder, she said to them, quote, I think anything is possible now, end quote.
Wow.
Now, after all this, what Kari's family wants is for her body to be exhumed. They want a real autopsy. In steps Texas Ranger Matt Cawthon, and he joins Bill Johnson's team, and as he's reviewing the case, he's seeing all kinds of red flags. Matt Baker said that he left and came back again, but he didn't think it was enough time for Kari to take the pills to get up, lock the door, lay down, and die.
Right.
Not only that, for Matt to go to the gas station and to the video store all within a few miles in this tiny little town of Hewitt, why would it take almost an hour? It's late, and it's a Friday night. It's not like he's fighting traffic, right?
Sure. Right.
When Matt Coffin speaks with Michael Irvin, the first officer on the scene, he tells him that Matt was the one who pointed out the suicide note. Look here. It's a suicide note. Look, officer, there's a suicide note.
Right.
The note that was typed and the note that wasn't signed. And when the Texas Ranger looked at the note closely, part of it says, quote, "Tell mom and dad I love them too. T-O.
Yeah.
Not T-O-O. And what was Kari's profession?
Yeah.
She was a teacher.
Yep.
That's not the kind of thing that she would get wrong.
Right.
Then, armed with Linda's research on how much Unisom it would take to kill a person, they go to Judge Martin along with the Hewitt police, and he signs an order allowing Kari's body to be exhumed. They needed scientific evidence, and part of their scientific evidence was to reenact what Matt said happened that night. He's said that Kari was naked when he found her, and instead of doing CPR immediately, he dressed her in her underwear and a t-shirt, which is suspicious to begin with.
Yeah.
But Matt Coffin tries to do this with a dummy that weighs the same as Kari, get it off the bed, into the floor, and get it dressed in the amount of time that Matt said it happened while he's on the phone with 911 and doing CPR, and he's not out of breath.
Right.
And this Texas Ranger couldn't get the body dressed and off the bed without exerting himself and being out of breath. And in the 911 call, Matt's breathing just fine.
Yeah.
So there's no way he could have dressed her with the phone and doing CPR, which he apparently knew how to do on a 1-year-old, but not his wife.
Right.
In September of 2006, Kari's body is exhumed, and the autopsy showed that she had Ambien in her system, a drug she didn't have a prescription for. And they go back and look at the crime scene photos, and what they see is Kari's body in the floor has lividity. The blood has pooled in her arm, and this is something that takes time. And the team goes to a man named Tom Bevel. He's the dude who is the quintessential expert on lividity. So if Matt left the house at 11 and came back 45 to 50 minutes later, that's not enough time, even in an hour is not even enough time for lividity to set in. Kari was dead before Matt ever left the house. Then while looking through more photos of the crime scene and Kari, they noticed that she had an abrasion on the bridge of her nose. It looked like a mark that was caused by like coarse material against her nose, like a rug burn of sorts.
Right.
Something the autopsy didn't even make a note of. And it's only at this point that the police confiscate Matt's computer and find that the minister is into porn. And they can see his search history where he'd researched, can you overdose by sleeping pills? Now, this is way after the fact that the police are actually confiscating the computer.
Right.
Which is a little bit crazy, right?
Well, now, I also have a question. In the autopsy, did they look at her wrist? Because she was handcuffed, right?
She was handcuffed, but I don't think she struggled long enough against the handcuffs to make marks.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, she was asleep when he was like, she's snoring
Right.
in her handcuffs.
I would just think, though, if, when he was trying to smother her, she's
fighting,
she's
that there would be
fighting.
marks.
Yeah.
There's a picture of her hand, and there doesn't seem to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe they were fuzzy handcuffs.
I wasn't going to say that.
Okay.
Now, police question Matt, and he tells them that, yes, he did research that. How much over-the-counter medication does it take to OD? Because he was worried for Kari's safety. But then they find this dark website where he put the Ambien in his shopping cart.
Yeah.
And when police went through Kari's journals, they found where the week before she was murdered, she wrote, quote, "I feel like I have so much to worry, Lord. I'm asking you to protect me from harm. I'm not sure what's going on with Matt," end quote.
Wow.
The police also got a statement from a woman who worked in a jewelry store who said that within 2 weeks of Kari's death, Matt and Vanessa Bowles were in the store with his daughter looking at engagement rings.
Jeez.
But Matt told the police that it was the girls that were looking for jewelry, earrings, because they were going to get their ears pierced at the age of 6. And Kari's family, by the way, let me back up a little bit.
Okay.
The person at the jewelry store was even quoting her verbatim, like, what do you like? And he said, you're the one who has to wear it. So it's not like they were just casually looking.
Right.
They were really looking.
Yep.
And Kari's family says that not long after Kari's death, all of the photos of Kari were gone. And a few weeks after Kari's death, 2 of Kari and Matt's friends came to their home to help with a party, and Vanessa was there with Matt, with her head in his lap. This is just a few weeks after her death.
Man.
Now, after Kari's autopsy, her manner and cause of death went from suicide to undetermined. And even though it isn't ruled a homicide, Matt Baker is arrested for her murder a year and a half after his wife's death.
Wow.
But he's not in the McLennan County Jail for long because he paid his $200,000 bond in cash.
Really?
And they're on her parents' phone plan?
Where'd he get that kind of money?
I think it must have been his parents.
He's a Baptist minister.
Yeah, I think it must have been his parents.
Okay.
Then Matt moved back to Kerrville, Texas with his family where he grew up, 200 miles away from Hewitt. And once he's out on bond, Matt goes on a press tour proclaiming his innocence. He's even on the cover of Texas Monthly. He sits down with 2020, with 48 Hours. He's talking about how he's so innocent and that he never had an affair with Vanessa Bowles and that he didn't believe in adultery. 6 months after Matt Baker's arrest, the murder charge is dismissed because the prosecution failed to indict him. But now the whole town of Hewitt is in an uproar, and they all have these bumper stickers on their cars that said, "Justice for Kari," with the words, "Love trumps evil" underneath it.
Wow.
And Kari's family decides to charge Matt in a civil court, a wrongful death suit. And this is going to be a problem for Matt. You see, during his press tour, he tells a different story than he told to the police that night, which was a different story from what he told 2020 and a little different than what he told Texas Monthly and even different from what he told 48 Hours.
What a moron.
Small thinking cap.
Yeah.
Bill Johnston files the civil suit, and that meant they could subpoena Matt for a deposition. And again, Matt tells a story that isn't the same, but the one thing that he really couldn't get around was the timeline. When did Kari take the pills? Kari had to either be fine when you left that night, or she was incapacitated, and he was a bad father for leaving his 2 small children at home alone.
Mm-hmm.
So he says Kari was fine when he left, which of course does not match the lividity of her dead body.
Right.
And his 911 call sounds so calm and so phony.
My wife's not breathing. Hang on a second. I got to get that. Okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a lot like that.
Jeez.
The civil team brings in another person to their team, Abden Rodriguez. They call him the human lie detector. He's really good at reading body language. He looks at the interviews and says, "This Vanessa Bowles chick, she's lying. She's pretty, she's poised, but she's lying through her teeth." And the first time Abden interviews Vanessa, she sticks to her original story. The second time he interviews her, she tells a little more. Okay, she did sleep with Matt Baker once. And then the third time they interviewed her, after he turned off the tape recorder, she asked him if he believed her, and he told her point blank, "I know you're holding back. You're not telling me everything." And after Vanessa Bowles received testimonial immunity in exchange for her cooperation, she's ready to tell everything.
Dun, dun, dun.
They subpoena Vanessa to testify in front of a grand jury in 2009. And buddy, let me tell you, she didn't hold back.
Wow.
Behind the closed door of the grand jury, she sang like a canary. She told them just about everything. About the affair, about how Matt wanted to kill Kari, about how when he went through it and she was upset and he told her in a veiled language that if you're upset that I killed my wife, you should be careful because you could be next if you can't keep your mouth shut.
Good grief.
Vanessa broke up with Matt not long after Kari's murder, understandably, and he was angry. He shouted at her, quote, "I killed my wife for you," end quote.
Wow. That's love.
But after it is, right? But after the grand jury, the civil case is dropped and the criminal case came back to life
Like a tornado in Wichita Falls.
in a trailer park in Wichita Falls.
Yeah.
Matt was charged with first-degree murder. He's accused of drugging and suffocating his wife and making it look like a suicide. Now, 4 years later, on January 13th, 2010, Matt Baker is finally on trial for Kari's death. And when opening statements start, the courtroom is packed. You know it.
Yep.
The prosecution called witnesses to testify to Kari's state of mind the week before her death. In particular, her grief counselor, Joanne Bristol. And she said Kari was not suicidal and was looking forward to an interview for a new teaching position. And the interview was the day of her death. Then the officers who responded to the 911 call and the justice of the peace who ruled Kari's death a suicide, the prosecution wanted them on their side, right? So they sort of tiptoed around the fact that they kind of flubbed this investigation. The police didn't check the computer for the suicide note. They didn't take the computer and printer that night. They didn't collect the wine cooler bottles on the bedside table.
Wow.
The only thing they took was Matt's word. The Baptist minister said it was true. It must be true.
Yeah.
The prosecution put the Dallas pathologist who performed Kari's autopsy on the stand to testify about the Ambien. Then there was the search history and computer evidence. And even the man who owned the website where Matt had put the Ambien in the shopping cart, this guy is from Spain. But he came to the United States at his own expense because he knew that nobody else could explain his business records and how his site worked. And he told the jury that many United States customers abandon their cart when they discover it's going to take 2 weeks to get their drugs. So that's why he abandoned the cart, because he wanted her killed closer to their daughter's death.
Sure.
The prosecution called Linda Doolin, Kari's mom, to talk about the crushed pills Kari found in Matt's briefcase. And then they played a couple of videos of Matt talking about these pills, and in each account, his explanation is different. Then Vanessa Bowles took the stand. Now, she's really pretty. She's very articulate. She tells the court she met Matt at church and admitted to having an affair with him. She admits to not giving her full story during her grand jury testimony, but she told what she knew, what Matt had told her. So she went through his whole night just as he told it to her. Just days after Kari's funeral, she said he told her he killed Kari for her and that, quote, God had forgiven him, end quote.
Okay.
Well, Matt, it's a good thing God loves you because nobody else does.
Yeah, exactly.
When the defense cross-examined Vanessa, she was willing to acknowledge the lies that she told in the beginning, and she said she had nothing to gain from telling the truth, which is true.
Yeah.
She was ashamed of what had happened, but Matt had made veiled threats that she would be next, and she knew what he was capable of, so she was afraid. And I get that.
Right.
Then a chief medical examiner spoke to the court about the timeline and the lividity in Kari's arms, how it didn't match Matt's story. And the defense tried to really paint Kari as this depressed person through her journals and writings in the margins of her Bible. But the prosecution really hit back with all the different stories Matt had told to Texas Monthly, to 2020, to 48 Hours, and in his deposition. They also went through the whole he dressed her and got her on the floor and never broke a sweat during the 911 call.
Right.
Matt never took the stand. The jury was out for, how long do you think the jury was out deliberating?
Not that long.
7.5 hours before returning with I gave it away, before returning with a verdict of guilty. I was going to make you wait and find out if you thought he was guilty, and I screwed it up.
Now, you know what? I don't think anybody had any doubt that he was guilty.
Everybody knew he was guilty.
Yeah.
No reason for the pregnant pause, Chris.
Yeah, exactly. That 7 hours was kind of the giveaway.
Yeah. Before Matt is sentenced, the prosecution paraded in over a dozen women who claimed that Matt Baker had molested them just to show that this was a pattern and that the good minister wasn't so good.
Yeah.
This wasn't a one-time thing. This was a young woman who went to the hospital to visit with Kari and Matt while Cassidy was having her brain tumor surgery. And while she's there, Matt made inappropriate sexual comments to her. His little girl is dying.
Wow.
And he's hitting on somebody from the church. The prosecution showed the jury all the porn sites that Matt was visiting at home and at the Crossroads Baptist Church on their computer.
Wow.
For Matt, his defense called character witnesses, but they all seemed to know Matt's family better than they knew him. Both sides made their punishment arguments. Matt had filed an application for probation as he was eligible under the statute in place in 2006. His attorney, Harold Danford, told the jury to see the good side of Matt Baker, the good father, the good neighbor, the church volunteer. The prosecution responded by telling the jury that the only good side of Matt Baker was his daughters, whose mother he had killed, and he had then convinced the girls that their mother had abandoned them and that he was being railroaded in the court system. In closing, the prosecution reminded the jury of the last few minutes of Kari's life when she knew that her husband, whom she loved and trusted, was murdering her, and of the damage Matt had done not only to Kari, but to her daughters and her family. And the jury returned several hours later with a 65-year sentence.
Wow.
Now, Matt Baker has exhausted all of his appeals. Matt admits to the affair with Vanessa, but maintains to this day his innocence in the death of Kari, his wife. Really?
Yeah.
So he was this horrible person masquerading as a man of God, which, if you think about it, is the perfect place to hide.
Sure.
So maybe that was his plan all along. He seemed to have a long line of victims starting from when he was in college. After Matt's 2010 murder conviction, Kari's daughters went to live with Matt's mom and dad, Barbara and Oscar, in Kerrville, Texas. And Kari's parents were like, no way.
Yeah.
The Doolins sued for custody, and this trial went on for 2 weeks, and 10 of the 12 jurors voted to transfer custody of both girls to Jim and Linda Doolin, Kari's parents. And the court also ordered the girls to have no contact with their father while he serves his 65-year sentence in the Michael Unit Men's Prison in Anderson County, Texas.
Good.
Which is where he is right now. Matt Baker is 54 years old. Now, we wish the best for Kari's two daughters, who would be grown women by now, for sure.
Right.
What a horrible thing to have to be caught in the middle of.
Yeah.
But that is the tragic story of Kari Baker and the husband who killed her. And that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, my take on this whole thing?
Yes.
It's pretty simple. After Billy Martin and Michael Irving, I was expecting the AG to be Jerry Jones.
Nope. Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
I'm just glad that the guy was busted. That's, you know, and to veil yourself in a religious, cloth, there's a special place in hell.
Absolutely. And the one thing I kind of looked up and didn't find, or maybe it's just not for public knowledge, is whether or not he's like pastoring men in prison. And I couldn't find that anywhere.
Yeah, I hope not.
Yeah.
Wow.
So is he really a man of God? Obviously not.
I don't think so.
Obviously not.
Well, I'm glad he's put away.
For 65 years.
There you go, babe. All right, well, let's move away from him and go to a little bless your heart.
Well, bless your heart.
All right, number one, I'm calling Time to Eat the Donuts.
It's always time to eat a donut.
Yes, and this is from one of our in-laws and outlaws, Loretta Hagen. Sorry, Loretta. And this takes place, and this takes place in Louisville, Kentucky.
Did you notice how he said that word? Louisville. There you go.
Yeah, that's from an Ohio boy.
He had to learn.
A Kentucky man is facing charges after police say he walked into an area gas station and flashed a fake badge to steal coffee and donuts. Authorities in Louisville identified the man as James Sullivan.
Oh.
Yeah, they said he entered a Thornton's convenience store last week, picked up donuts, poured himself a coffee. But as he walked by the cashier, he bypassed the point of sale and flashed a silver badge on his hip, police said. The employee contacted authorities and investigators identified the man as Sullivan. investigators said this wasn't the first time he had done this.
Oh.
According to the court record, Sullivan is a convicted felon
Oh.
with a lengthy criminal history.
And a love of donuts.
Yep, Sullivan is facing charges of impersonating an officer and theft by unlawful taking in connection with his latest arrest.
So what did he think, that cops just walk in and get their own coffee and their own donuts and walk out?
I guess.
Okay, cops are going to tell you they pay for their coffee, they pay for their donuts.
Yes, they do. All right, number 2, Polly want a cop?
I don't even want to know.
Officers in Miami responded to multiple noise complaints about a violent domestic dispute with screaming threats at a residential apartment. The 911 caller reported hearing a man yelling, "I can't take this anymore," followed by a woman screaming, "You always do this," with both voices shouting over each other for 20 minutes.
Is this a bird?
The 3 officers arrived expecting to separate a violent situation. Instead, they found David and Jennifer standing together in their kitchen, both yelling at Rico, their pet 8-year-old blue and gold macaw, who was perched on a stand, responding in alternate voices. David's angry baritone and Jennifer's frustrated alto.
How funny is that?
Creating the illusion of a 2-person argument while the actual couple tried desperately to make him stop. Quote, "The bird had learned our entire fight script from a bad week last month," Jennifer explained. "Now, he usually performs it randomly, usually at 3 a.m. or when we have guests. He does my voice so accurately that David sometimes thinks that it's actually me yelling."
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, Rico demonstrated by screaming, "Where are you?" in Jennifer's exact tone, causing her to wince. Officer Patricia Martinez reported, "I've responded to hundreds of domestic calls. This is the first time the domestic disturbance was caused by a third party who wasn't even human."
Oh my gosh, my cheeks are hurting. I'm smiling so hard. That's hilarious.
Yeah, the bird was literally gaslighting both of them with their own relationship problems. Miami Police Department posted, quote, "Domestic disturbance resolved. No fighting between humans. Parrot revealed as instigator. Couple issued noise citations. Recommended couples therapy. Also bird therapy."
If we had a bird, you know what it would say? What do you want for dinner? I don't know. What do you want?
I know. And we just keep repeating that over and over and over. Yeah. All right, number 3, and finally.
Finally.
In other raccoon news.
Oh, no, not more raccoons.
Yep. A full tactical response to First National Bank in Austin, Texas, was launched when silent alarms indicated unauthorized entry and movement in the vault area at 3:47 a.m., mobilizing Texas Ranger and local SWAT, expecting to intercept a sophisticated bank heist, only to discover the armed robber was actually Bandit, a 28-pound raccoon who had entered through the ventilation, triggered every security system, and was systematically raiding the employees' break room snack stash. Texas Ranger Marcus Rodriguez.
Wait, the SWAT team showed up.
Yeah. Texas Ranger Marcus Rodriguez arrived with tactical teams, establishing a perimeter and preparing for potential hostage or active robbery.
Oh, my gosh.
Security monitors showed movement in the restricted areas, doors opening, and items being displaced. Quote, "All indicators pointed to a burglary in progress," Rodriguez explained. "Someone had penetrated our security and was actively moving through the building. SWAT made entry at 4:15 a.m. with weapons drawn, clearing rooms methodically. They found Bandit in employees' lounge, surrounded by torn bags of chips, open containers, and scattered vending machine snacks. The raccoon had figured out how to pop the vending machine's bottom panel and was pulling out items one by one."
Oh, my gosh.
Quote, "This raccoon defeated our $250,000 worth of bank security," Rodriguez reported. "Motion sensors, pressure plates, infrared beams. He triggered everything. Our systems couldn't distinguish between a raccoon and a human burglar. From a security standpoint, he successfully penetrated a Class 3 financial institution."
Wow.
He was eventually released on his own recognizance because they didn't have the handcuffs tiny enough to fit him.
Can you imagine the SWAT team goes in, they've got like the laser, the red lights, and it's a raccoon with like a bag of Lay's chips, like, "Oh, Been caught.
What's great about that, because if you've ever like shown a flashlight on a raccoon, they like pop their head open, their eyes stare right at you like, oh.
Yeah, they freeze. They're like, oh, and don't do anything.
That's exactly. If you remember the scene in Blues Brothers, where they all like 15,000 rifles are pointed at Jake and Elwood.
Yeah.
That's what happened with the raccoon.
That poor raccoon. And he was just there for some chips.
Yeah, he just wanted a snack. Give me a ho-ho.
How did he make it through? That's amazing that he went through the ventilation system.
Yeah, it's like Raccoon Cruise.
And you know what? Yeah, Mission Impossible, but the raccoon style.
yeah.
Exactly.
Tom Raccoon.
He's like he's got little things he rappels down from the ceiling. And he's just barely off the ground.
I need to do an AI of that.
I love it.
There you go.
Well, if you have a bless your heart or you know somebody's heart who needs blessing, all you got to do is go to hitchedtohomicide.com. When you get there, there's a pull-down menu, and while you're there, you can also suggest a case, which we're going to do a bunch of those coming up.
Yep.
Or tell us about your brush with true crime. That's my amazing husband out there.
That's my beautiful bride in the booth.
My face hurts. I've been smiling so much. Join us next time on Hitched to Homicide.
Bye, y'all.